Finally, let's look at how to use the throw-in. The throw-in actually has the most combinations. For example, if I set it up like this, it looks like this black stone is already controlled by white. But is that really true? If black forces a crawl back, this shape is quite similar to the underneath attachment. If white plays here and allows black to just escape back, white can no longer cut. This is a tiger's mouth, so white has to capture right now. Then black follows up with an Atari. White captures, and we get this shape. As we know, this is a throw-in. This is a combination of moves. Black's move here is actually a sacrifice. By sacrificing a stone, black ultimately destroys white's eye space with a throw-in. We can modify this shape further. Take the shape we just looked at. For example, before, it was a direct underneath attachment. Now, I'll add a white stone here, adding one stone right here. Now, it looks like this. Black stone is already dead. But if I sacrifice it after white captures, I play a throw-in, and white is still dead. The throw-in is actually used very frequently. So, destroying the opponent's eye space with a throw-in, or as we'll learn later, using it to reduce liberties, is a very common technique. Let's look at this shape. It looks like white has two eyes here. But is this outside eye space a real eye? If we just play an Atari and white connects, it is clearly a real eye, and white becomes alive. So this is where we use the throw-in again. Notice this works because of white's shortage of liberties. With the throw-in, white cannot connect because the stones would be captured. So white is forced to capture. Then I play an Atari here, and it becomes a false eye again, right? The key point here is that the position of the stone reduces white's liberties. Now, if we want to combine it with a wedge, and white has this kind of eye space, I'll just set it up like this. We've learned about the wedge before, right? Now, black just wedges in directly, which also destroys white's eye space here. It looks like a throw-in shape, and it essentially reverts to a throw-in shape, which destroys white's eye space just the same. So this sequence combines a wedge and an Atari, right? It is another combination of moves. Then there is also a shape we looked at earlier. Let's set it up like this. We'll make a slight change to this shape. The one we saw before. Back then, we played a jump. Because by jumping to this position, white couldn't cut black. At that time, black had a stone right here. In other words, we've moved the original stone to this position. When this stone was over here, let me just rearrange it quickly so it is easier to see. Okay, we set it up like this. That previous problem looked roughly like this. We said we should jump instead of playing Atari. Right, because with a jump, white cannot cut black. This way, we can kill white unconditionally. Now, notice the position of this stone. It has moved from here to here. In this situation, there is actually still a way to kill white, which is to jump to this exact same spot. Now, it looks like the stone is being sacrificed, and white can capture the black stone. But next, black plays a throw in here. That is the first throw in. After white captures, black plays a second throw in. Alright, at this point, we've actually seen this shape before. By jumping and sacrificing a stone, we use two consecutive throw-ins to destroy white's eye space. With a final Atari, or rather, a shape similar to an angle wedge, we turn white's eye space into a false eye. So, in today's lesson, as we briefly review, we'll find that if we combine the angle wedge, solid extension, well, we didn't cover the solid extension today, but we did use the jump so, the angle wedge, jump, throw in, underneath attachment, wedge, and Atari. When we combine these shapes together, we'll discover even more ways to destroy eye shapes. The sequences will also involve more moves. We need to gradually summarize these eye-destroying techniques and use them frequently. Only then can we find better and more patterns. Truly master them. That is basically the logic. Alright, that is all for today's lesson.